Hi everyone and welcome back to the YouTube channel. So today we're going to have GEA Q&A number 1. I've been having these Q&As on my Instagram for years and they've probably been my most popular content ever. It's the way I've got to know my followers the best, and it's probably the best way I've got to communicate with them and answer their questions. I get tons of questions every single week, especially when I put up the question boxes. So today we have 14 questions. I'm going to call it the GEA Q&A, but most of my followers are Gaelic footballers or from a Gaelic football background at some stage in their lives. The questions can be about literally anything. So the first question, Gaelic footballers using pre-workout. So I'm going to approach this as Gaelic footballers using caffeine of any kind. So the problem I have with caffeine is what people are usually looking for from caffeine: a kick, a bit of extra energy, a stimulant. Usually what they're going to get from caffeine, they could have got if they just drank more water and were hydrated. They could have got more steady energy levels, better concentration, better mood, better focus, better performance in the gym just by drinking more water. So if you drink more water, you won't need a pre-workout. Electrolyte tablet, I have one every single day, every single morning first thing, and I aim to have about a litre or 2 drank by 1 or 2 o'clock in the day. If you do that, you're not going to be able to rely, or you're not going to want to rely on caffeine quite as much. My friend Keane won the Irish Natural Bodybuilding Overall Championships, went to Los Angeles. He used to have a can of Monster every single day all throughout his prep. He still has a can of Monster every single day as far as I know. So there's nothing that bad about these things per se. You know, the 0-calorie ones, a cup of black coffee, a pre-workout, a can of Monster, you can have it fine, but I prefer if you just had a cup of black coffee or 2 and as much water as possible. That's what I do myself. That's what I recommend to clients. Mate as well. Mate is like a green tea. So something like that I prefer to a pre-workout. And remember, pre-workout, it doesn't have any calories in it. It's not like it's giving you energy. What it is a stimulant. So that stimulant can interfere with your sleep quality a lot, and it can also interfere with your testosterone production, because if you stimulate yourself too much, you raise your stress levels. You know that feeling when you drink too much coffee or too much caffeine, you feel a bit anxious. That's going to affect your testosterone levels because your stress levels will go up too high. So just keep it simple, cup or 2 of black coffee a day, plenty of water, easy. Question number 2, I got this question twice. So what is the ideal rest times? So if you have a workout like the ones I prescribe, where there's usually 7 or 8 exercises per session, and you complete that workout in 45 minutes, and then someone else completes the same workout in 60 minutes, it's not actually going to make any difference whatsoever. It's the effectiveness of the workout. What's going to make a difference is good technique. Are you using good technique? Are you progressively overloading? Are you picking the right exercises? Those things are going to make a huge difference as opposed to rest times. So that being said, I don't like rest times to be too long, and I definitely don't like people to be on their phones in between sets. That's a disaster. It's been proven in studies to lower the intensity of workouts a lot. So keep your rest times pretty short, but if you have a heavier compound lift like a squat, Bulgarian split squat, RDL, weighted dip, a bench press, make sure for that top set where you're trying to beat the logbook, get extra reps or lift extra weight from the last day, make sure you take a long enough rest so that you're not out of breath or anything like that, and then you go all in on that set. So if you need to take 3 minutes, 4 minutes, go for it for that top set on the heavier compound lift. But apart from that, bicep curls, shoulder exercises like band pull aparts and face pulls, you know, isolated exercises, keep your rests nice and short, keep your workouts 45 minutes to an hour max. The best exercises for hips, strength and flexibility, well, just normal full range of motion strength training is going to do a great job here. So knees over toes split squat, ATG split squat, whatever you want to call it, that's going to be excellent. Full range ass to grass squats, you know, they're going to be absolutely excellent. But let's say if you're really focusing on flexibility and hip strength, if you have had problems with your hips in the past, there's 2 exercises. They're pretty advanced, but if you are a beginner, you're new to them, you can start them at a beginner level just by having your legs closer together. One of them is called the long lunge and the other one is called the horse stance. The long lunge is excellent for the splits, so it's going to really stretch out your hamstrings and your hip flexor. And the horse stance is going to really stretch out your groins. They're absolutely excellent. I put them in the first 12 weeks of my GEA program, my 12-week GEA program, GEA strength, muscle and flexibility. Next question, number 4, is just book recommendations. This is very vague. There could be books about absolutely anything. So to answer this question, I'm going to give you the books that I give to my clients at the seminar I did at Christmas. So one of them was called Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. I think absolutely everyone alive should read that book. It's incredible. The next book that I recommend for every single client, it's the only book that I send every single client at the beginning. It's called Atomic Habits. If you understand the message in that book, you'll understand fitness, you'll understand how to build muscle, how to lose fat. It's all just tiny, simple habits added up. There's nothing complicated at all about what I do or what any good coach or PT does. It's all just tiny habits added up. So understanding how to change those atomic habits is absolutely super. Ross Edgley's The Art of Resilience. I absolutely love this book. I was listening to this as an audio book when I was doing my run across Ireland and when I was training for my 270-kilometer run, the width of the country. I love his concept of Stoic sports science. Ross Edgley is an amazing guy. You should listen to podcasts that he features in. You should watch his documentaries on YouTube. He's like the English David Goggins, except Goggins is really hard and cold. Ross Edgley does all these things with a smile on his face. And then finally, the other one that I gave at Christmas time was a book called Jailhouse Strong. So my gym back in Ireland started off with just a few racks, a few kettlebells and a few dumbbells, and we had to make the most out of that. So Jailhouse Strong is about how fellas in prison in America end up getting in such unbelievable shape and getting unbelievably strong with the basic equipment and basic nutrition. So that book teaches you how to train very hard and very effective with minimal equipment. Okay, next one is a pretty detailed question about return to play after an ACL, exercises, sets and reps. I get asked about injuries every single week, multiple times a week, and I always tell people I'm not a physio. You're going to have to go and see your osteopath, your physiotherapist, your surgeon maybe even. I am not a physio and I don't pretend to be a physio online like a lot of personal trainers and strength and conditioning coaches do. So what I do is I have a network of doctors, physios, osteopaths, people I know personally, and I regularly go to them with questions when I don't know something. And I'll ask them, you know, my client wants to know this, things like that. So if you have done your cruciate ligament, I have 3 clients now at the minute who are coming back from cruciate ligament and they're working with me. I always just go and ask your physio, did the physio say you can do this? Yeah, he said I can do it, Kev. Okay, and just start them doing that exercise, whether it's how deep they can go in a squat, whether can they start training legs at all, are they supposed to be doing cycling, all those type of things. You're going to have to ask your physio. He gives you the all clear to go back into exercise or different levels of exercise. And then I just try and get people very strong on lunges, split squats and squats. Number 6, do I just provide gym work or do I do pitch work too? I think a lot of the pitch work that guys are doing by themselves is absolute fluff. It's nonsense. This running mechanics and all this, I think it's absolute nonsense. What they should be doing instead is just doing skills work and getting very, very strong in the gym. Get very strong, get very lean, you know, nail your diet, nail your full range of motion strength training, and then never miss your 3 pitch sessions a week. Unless your coach, your GA coach is absolutely terrible, you're going to be doing sprints, you're going to be doing skills work, you're going to be doing tackling drills, you're going to be doing games. That is more than enough. Do your 3 pitch sessions a week and use your gym work to get your body in the best possible shape for those 3 pitch sessions a week. Remember, those 3 pitch sessions are way more important than anything else you're doing by yourself in the gym or on the pitch. So use the gym to get ready for those 3 pitch sessions and give 110% in those pitch sessions. The extra pitch sessions, you can do them every day of the week as long as it's skills work, but all these other complex drills and things like that, I'm not a fan of them whatsoever. Opinion on Keane and Fergie. So I absolutely love Roy Keane and Alex Ferguson. The only time I really watched soccer was in that Man United era when they won the treble when I was a kid. So maybe 10 years there, I was obsessed with soccer, FIFA, AC Milan around that time. But thoughts on Keane and Fergie? Maybe someone means there that the fallout between them. I think it's inevitable. I think in sports, it's very rare that after this successful period finishes, that the players are all still talking to each other, that the coaches still get along. It's just extremely rare. It doesn't matter if it's Gaelic football, hurling, soccer, basketball, with the Last Dance with Michael Jordan. It's hard when you're training and pushing yourself and challenging each other at that intensity for so long. Fallouts are inevitable. Who's right, who's wrong? Like, I don't know the situation well enough, and I don't know the people well enough, and I'd just be speculating and guessing and pub talking, which I hate to do. So I love the two of them. I love Keane and Fergie and everything they're about. Who was right or wrong in that situation doesn't really bother me or interest me too much. Number 8, golfer's elbow. I don't even know what golfer's elbow is. Is it the same as tennis elbow? I know that in the gym, it's very common to get elbow pain. And I learned from Charles Poliquin, if someone's getting elbow pain when they're doing bicep work or when they're doing certain exercises like chin-ups or lat pull-downs, usually it's because their forearms are too weak for their biceps and triceps. And it's a lot of people get knee pain as well, he used to say, because their quads and hamstrings and glutes are too strong for the muscles below the knee. So if you've got very strong biceps and triceps and you haven't been doing any grip work or any forearm work, you might be getting elbow pain. So start doing some grip and forearm work. I've done plenty of that through the handstands, and I also love to hang off pull-up bars. I get all of my clients to do it. Next question, so speed and explosiveness after 4 years out. If you're after 4 years out, the last thing you need to worry about is speed and explosiveness. You need to worry about just general overall conditioning for your body. So you need to get very lean and very strong. Strength and conditioning means strong and lean, or strong and fit, let's say, generally. So if you can just get strong with full range of motion, can you do 10 pull-ups, 30 press-ups or 10 dips, full range of motion? Can you do squats and lunges, body weight? Can you do squats up to, holding a kettlebell here, up to 30 kg dumbbell or 40 kg dumbbell for 10 or 20 reps? General conditioning, lowering your body fat down, that's going to have you very fast and explosive as possible. If you're carrying extra body fat, you're not going to be fast or explosive whatsoever. Number 10, improving tactical awareness, decision making. So I've thought about doing a video series on this where I could break down some of the most famous games of the last 10 or 20 years and go through them tactically, which is what I used to do with the teams I coached when I was managing at senior level. And it worked very well. We were always very tactically astute. So I could do that. But generally, what I want you to understand about tactics is fatigue makes a coward of us all. So if you go into the pub after the game and you listen to people talk about Mayo or whoever was playing, your local, after your senior team was playing, they'll be like, oh, that fella's, he's lazy. A lot of the time he's not lazy. I know this from coaching. He actually wants to get back. He's just not fit enough to get back. So fatigue makes him look like a coward, as Jimmy Johnson, the Dallas Cowboys coach, used to say. So fatigue makes him look lazy. But sometimes those players who don't get back and don't bother making the run or tracking, they want to make the run, they're just not fit enough to do it. If he could make the run and he's just too lazy to do it, there's fuck all difference between the fella who's too lazy to do it and the fella who's just not fit enough to do it. So that might sound a little bit harsh, but it's the truth. It's like someone comes into your house and say does the plumbing for you. And one person comes in and just tries to fix the plumbing, but they completely ruin the pipes. Versus another person who just come in and vandalizes the pipes. There's very little difference in the end result. The end result is the pipes are fucked. And the intention, does it really matter? So I heard an American coach, an American football coach, go through that. And I was like, that's actually very true. So a lot of the arguments back and forth about, did he do this, did he not do this, it's all nonsense. Either he did it or he didn't, whether he wanted to or he tried to, and all these things. It doesn't really matter, it doesn't really help anyone. So if you want to be better tactically, what the hell am I even talking about? If you want to be better tactically in decision making, you have to be very fit and very strong that you can even put yourself into a position to get a shot off tactically. That you can even put yourself into a position to be an option for receiving the ball? Can you even put yourself into a position that you can make a 40-yard run backwards and get a tackle like Mikey Gainey last week? So a huge amount of your tactical awareness is going to come from just being fit and strong enough to play at the level of whatever level you're at, of senior club football. Tactically, you'll go a long way if you just don't give the ball away. People will complain about certain players, but you look at like maybe Stephen Cohen and Tom Parsons and how outstanding they've been for Mayo in so many games, because they just do the very basic things right. They tackle, they track back, sure they're always marking their man so he doesn't do any damage, and then they don't give the ball away. That's been very, very tactically effective. So play to your strengths and keep it simple would be tactical awareness 101. Number 11, social life, high performance, discipline as a young adult. Well, I could do a full 30-minute or 1 hour on each one of these questions, but especially that one. You want to be able to go full send with the lads every so often. Like, you want to go and have fun. Some of the best nights of my life right from young was just cutting loose with the lads. And I give out about alcohol a lot because it can ruin you and it can ruin your potential like all the other addictions can. But you need to make space for having an epic time with the lads as well. So I kind of came up with a formula when I was coaching by watching top players, the guys who played inter-county and the guys I looked up to at club level, and watching what they did. And usually what they do is every 6 months they'd usually have a trip to look forward to with their wife or partner or with the lads. And that would usually keep them on track. And then they might have 1 or 2 or 3 nights out. And then they might have 2 or 3 more nights out where they just get pulled out last minute to go for a few pints. So that was every 6-month period. And if you cut each year into 6 months and 6 months across 5 years, that's 10 blocks of 6 months. So you have 1 trip away each 6 months, and then you have 2 or 3 more nights out. And if you do that, you're usually going to be fine. You're not going to damage your potential. You'll find a lot of Gaelic footballers at the top level, that's what they do, consciously or unconsciously. They'll have a trip just as the season starts or just as it's ending. And in between, they'll manage their nights out. So don't go, doom scrolling. Don't go doom drinking, misery loves company down in the pub every single weekend, making yourself a lot poorer and a lot fatter. But make sure you plan your downtime too. I absolutely love a night out. I've had some of the most epic experiences of my life on group trips with the lads. And I don't want anyone watching these videos to miss out on that. Number 12, best exercises for GA. So this is like a very vague general question, but I would say squats or split squats. All the performance benefits are going to come from your legs, or not all of them, but most of the performance benefits are going to come from your legs in basically all sports. So you want to work really hard on having strong, flexible legs. Full range of motion squats, full range of motion split squats. If you could focus on just one exercise all season long, I would do that. I'd focus on squats or split squats. You don't even have to go that heavy, just have great technique and do them consistently. Number 13 was just finding bulking hard. I don't really believe in bulking or cutting for a GA player. If you look at Con O'Callaghan or Oisin Mullen, you will look at a lot of Gaelic footballers are like them in terms of they grow up and they get 10 kg heavier across from maybe 18 to 23. And they never had this period where they were fat or bulking. Okay, you need a surplus of calories, you need extra calories to put on muscle, but you can't afford to get unfit at any stage. So bulking should be a very steady, slow climb. And you should not be losing your fitness, your running fitness. You should not be carrying so much extra body fat that you can't see any visible abs. That's bulking that doesn't belong in Gaelic football. I believe in getting as strong as possible, and you don't need massive surplus of calories to get strong as possible. You need a surplus, but not a huge surplus, and you should be staying lean during the whole process. So I hope that helps you. I know your question's a little bit vague, but I hope that helps you. And then finally, what's your beef with Mike Boyle? So my problem with Mike Boyle, first of all, if you want to go along with any school of strength and conditioning, go for it. As long as you're encouraging people to go into the gym and lift weights, it's a yes from me. And there's lots of different schools of strength and conditioning. My problem with Mike Boyle, which is the main school of strength and conditioning that's in the GEA at the minute, is there's a lot of fear mongering in it. And that's undeniable. That's not my opinion. It's just a fact. You know, don't do dips. They're bad for your shoulders. Don't squat knees over toes. It's bad for your knees. All this type of nonsense. And it's just not true. There's absolutely zero studies out there that squatting deeper than 90 degrees is bad for your knees and squatting to halfway is better for your knees. There's no proof that that's a fact at all. That's his opinion, or that school of training's opinion. There's no proof out there that, you know, doing dips is bad for your shoulders versus a barbell bench press or a dumbbell bench press. That functional style of training, they'll say, oh, this is better for athletes, and this is a better in terms of there's less injuries in it, and it's going to make you get injured less out on the pitch. There's zero evidence of any of that whatsoever. So as long as you're using good technique and a decent range of motion, you can use any number of styles of training to get ready for Gaelic football. And a lot of guys who train old school, like they might do boxing training in the winter, they might run the roads in the winter, they go out and they play unbelievable football in the summertime. Way better than a lot of these, you know, Mike Boyle nerds who are just, the study says this, science says this, you should only do this, and they're completely out of shape and they don't look like they've ever lifted weights themselves. So that's my problem with the Mike Boyle thing. Is Mike Boyle's stuff better than not training at all? Of course, it's 100 times better than not training at all. But I think there's too much fear mongering in it, and a lot of the Gaelic football strength and conditioning coaches at the minute are just copy and pasting everything he says. They don't train themselves much at all. They can't show good technique. They're not bothering to coach technique in detail to their clients or to the players. They seem happy enough to charge a lot of money without ever showing anyone technique one-on-one. And then they're happy to just piss on other types of training, saying that's bad for you, don't do that, that's going to get you injured. That's what pisses me off about the Mike Boyle stuff. So I don't want to be the call-out guy, and I'm never going to be that person. I just don't want to do it. But I definitely want to make people aware that a lot of that talk is nonsense. So that's the Q&A number one. I absolutely love these Q&As. Time has flown by going through your questions. I don't know if I'm going to do them once a month or twice a month, once every 2 weeks or once every 4 weeks, but we'll be doing them pretty regularly. They're my favorite form of content to make. Don't hesitate to send me any questions in the question box or in my DMs. And if you're enjoying these videos, please leave a comment below, subscribe, leave a thumbs up. It makes me very happy, and it really helps me grow the channel. Let's go.